Welcome to Try It On, the space where awareness meets the nervous system and real change begins. I'm Tiffany O'Hearn, holistic healer, nervous system guide, and speaker. And today we're talking about space and how everything changes when you learn to create it. And don't take my word for it. Try it on. And I'm going to start with something simple. Two people, same storm, completely different experience. One person stands at the window and watches the rain come down. They see the plants being watered. They hear the thunder roll through. And there's such a romance to it, a rumble, a release. And they're watching the birds. They don't fight the storm. They find shelter. They go still. And from that stillness, everything they need is coming alive around them. And the other person, pure fear. Same storm, same rain, same thunder. Nothing is different except their state. I'm an avid hiker, and we do a fair amount of hiking on the Appalachian Trail. And we were out there, three of us, my partner and one of our best friends. And we all had hammocks, and we're all swinging from hammocks. And the storm came in. And the other two were marveling at the beauty of this storm. I mean, we couldn't even hear ourselves. And me, I was in my hammock in a state of utter fear and panic. Same storm, different reactions within it. Your life is a reflection of your state. Everything you have created, your relationships, your patterns, your entire reality has been built from your thoughts, your reactions, your unconscious beliefs. Most of us are living on autopilot, reacting to the storm every time. Not because we're broken, but because we were never shown another way. And so we've collected beliefs without knowing it. From our parents, from our culture, from the media, from every experience that shaped us before we had the awareness to question it. And from those beliefs, we built a life. We have created our life unconsciously based on our beliefs, based on assuming that our thoughts are our reality. And with our thoughts, they harden into facts. If we believe that life is terrible, it's a fact for you. And you've created a life based on you thinking that it's terrible. What we pay attention to manifests. It grows. That's the law of attraction. That's what nobody is talking about. When I was young, there was an island we used to visit, and I was just talking about this last night with my partner. And on one side, the ocean roared in. I mean, there was waves, it was crashing, it was loud, it was unpredictable, it was wild, right? And on the other side of the island, there was a small beach. And it was calm. And there was peace. The same ocean, the same water, two completely different shores. And you get to choose which shore you stand on. Not by ignoring the storm, but by shifting your state. Because even in the turbulent, wild ocean, if you can see it as beautiful, if you can see it as life, as the universe universing, and what that is within you is pure resistance to what is, The ocean hasn't changed. Just like anything else in your life outside of you, what needs to shift, or what's the greatest invitation to shift, is how you react to it. Everything in your life is an opinion that we feel is so righteous and so right that everyone else is wrong. We see it all the time in politics, specifically, or people driving in the car, right? We assume whatever we are thinking is the absolute right and best choice for every person on this planet Earth, that they should be doing exactly what it is that we want based on our own thoughts, beliefs, and opinions, because they are all opinions. And when we create space, we understand that everyone is on their own journey. Everyone is on their own journey. And they too have their own thoughts, beliefs, opinions. No one is doing anything to us. And I invite you to, if you haven't, listen to some of the previous episodes. Yesterday, or the previous one, was all about surrender, which is exactly what it is that we're talking about. You just surrender to what it is that you don't know. So much of our life, our chaos, our anxiety comes from trying to affect the effect instead of surrendering to it. Instead of standing on that ocean shore and just seeing it differently. Changing our state. Space is where everything lives. And when you create space within yourself, trust becomes possible. Authenticity becomes possible. Real choice becomes possible, because right now, most of us are reacting before we even realize it. The trigger fires, the nervous system spikes, and we're already in a storm before we've had the chance to choose. And space is the pause between the trigger and the response. And the pause, that is where your power lives. When we're dysregulated, we cannot communicate to connect. We're not communicating. We're telling the other person that they're wrong and bad. And guess what the other person is doing? They're telling us how wronged they feel. Why it's not their fault. Why it's your fault. Why it's your fault. And we loop round and round we go. You have choice. You always have. You just didn't know it yet. And that's okay. We're here in this beautiful life together. And we have authorship. We have that sovereignty, that authenticity within us. So much of the time we say, well, I'm, coming from my intuition. And the reality is you're not. You've just thought that you're coming from your intuition, but you cannot access your intuition from a dysregulated nervous system. It's not possible. So really what you think is your intuition is fear-based. And so we've stopped being able to trust ourselves because we've made fear-based decisions that we thought the entire time were based on our intuition, but they weren't. We didn't have the space to create it. And so this is where everything changes in our life. When we make a conscious choice to change our state. Our life has been created from our most persistent state. If your most persistent state is stress and anxiety, and let's get really real here. What is your most persistent state? You know, not me. Stress, anxiety, whatever name you want to call it, it's all fear-based. It's all from our beliefs that we have collected over the years and we hold righteous to. Our ego says, nope, this is safe and this is the only thing that we can feel. And our ego has created our life unconsciously. And now we have choice. And that is so beautiful. And so let's talk about the signs The signs that you know before you react, because we have to talk about how to shift your state. So let's talk about how to know that you need to shift your state, because your body will tell you before your mind does every single time. This is not an intellectual problem. I just created a workshop that I'm going to be sharing very soon here, a low ticket, and it's all about shifting your state. And in that, when we are reactive, we are creating a reactive life around us. But when we can respond, when we know how to pause, we shift our state. And so we need to pay attention to our body, because you can be reading a book right now. You can be reading a book about how to calm your nervous system. I'm sure there's one titled that. Go ahead, look it up. How to calm your nervous system. And your child knocks over water and you react. Your partner interrupts you. You get a text message you don't particularly like. You know, you're outside in nature. You're having a great time. You're reading your book, and then the lawnmower comes, right? And it becomes so dysregulating for you. And you're reading a book about the nervous system. And so that's the reality of all of this. You cannot intellectually think your way out of a triggered nervous system. It won't work. That's why the words calm down have never worked for anyone, right? It's not just about somebody else telling us to calm down. You could tell yourself to calm down. But if you don't show your body you're safe, it won't work. And you'll feel kind of helpless. You'll feel lost in it, much like you probably do right now in your life. And so, what to watch for? Your jaw tightening. Just soften right now. Soften your jaw. Just let it hang. Just let it chill. Your shoulders rising. That's why we have so much tension, so much pressure from our shoulders. Just drop your shoulders. Soften your gaze. Your breath getting shallow and rapid. Our breath is in our body, right? This is part of these us becoming really engaged in what's happening with our body, because this is a body problem, not a problem, but this is a body, sensation. And so when we have rapid breathing, we're actually putting our state into a perpetual state of stress. When somebody sends you that email at work and your breath starts to catch, you get a text message on the other side, you look at something on social media, and pretty soon you're in a completely dysregulated nervous system. Just slowing your breath can make everything else around that feel safer. Your thoughts speed up. The need to defend is huge. In control, it's huge. Or you shut down. And so some of the signs, which ones are the most prominent for you? Is it your jaw tightening that you notice first, your shoulders rising? Is it your rapid breath? Is it your need to control? Is it your need to defend? Your rapid racing thoughts? You're shutting down? Only you know. And be really honest with yourself here, because if you don't want to be honest with yourself, it's because you're dysregulated, because you're going to you're going to react from your ego. You're going to say, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I don't control. You don't control? Think about that. When was the last time that you did something to someone else intentionally to upset them? We do it all the time. Make no mistake. Make no mistake. I know that my partner doesn't like when I leave this here, so I'm going to leave it here and act like I didn't know. I'm going to needle that other person. We do it all of the time. But the reality is that what's happening outside of us is what's happening within us. And so they're not doing it to us unless we allow it, unless we attach to it. And so if you know something within you, you do not have to defend. You don't have to defend anything. If you know you showed up with your full, authentic heart, with a regulated nervous system, you won't defend that because you're safe in that and you know what you know. And so everything that I talked about with the jaw and the rapid breathing and the defending and the control, they're not weaknesses. They're information. They're signals. And your nervous system is saying, I'm moving toward the storm. And that is your invitation to shift. And so try this on, because you don't need an hour to shift your state. You don't need to be alone to shift your state. You don't need perfect conditions to shift your state. You just need a moment. A moment. And so breathe. Slow your exhale down longer than your inhale. In for 4, out for 6 or 8. The exhale activates your parasympathetic nervous system and it tells your body that you are safe. And so this is something to put in your little toolbox. It can only work if you work it. And here's the other thing with the breath is that a lot of times we're going to want to do it when we're dysregulated. And the invitation is to try it on when you're not dysregulated. Because it will be easier to catch. It'll be easier to shift your state when you receive that text message, but you've just been breathing and you think to yourself, I'm going to pause so I don't react. Because they're on their own journey, same as me. Humming, and this one surprises people. Humming activates the vagus nerve. It's the longest nerve in your body, and it is directly connected to your sense of safety and calm. So just hum quietly to yourself. Even 30 seconds changes your state. And if you block your ears, the experience it creates. Go ahead, try it on with me. If it's safe to do so, go ahead, block your ears, and let's just hum. It's powerful. It really is powerful. I'm going to sneeze. Pardon me. Grounding. Feeling your feet on the floor. Press them down. Naming 5 things you can see. Come back into your body. Come back into your present moment. Because the nervous system reacts before our brain can catch on to it. This is not an intellectual problem. And the pause. Before you respond, just wait. 1 breath, that's all. That 1 breath is the difference between reaction and the response. And thus, you're coming from your intuition. You can trust yourself when we pause because it is not fear-based. It's sovereign. It's authentic. And so if this is resonating, this is exactly what we work on together in my one-on-one sessions. Learning to read your body's signals and shifting your state before the reaction takes over. And building a life that comes from response, not survival. Those spaces are open if you are ready. You have created everything in your life up until this moment. Imagine what you can create with conscious intention, with space. By changing your state, everything around you will change. A regulated nervous system allows you to have, to be, to do anything that you want in this life. People have said that to us all our life, but then they tell us that the opposite of that is true. But the reality is, if your nervous system can hold it, you can do whatever you want. Think of people. Alex Honnold, he climbed that skyscraper. I think it was in Japan. We watched it. It was insane. And I love watching those things because 20 billion people see fear. And he's calm. And that's why he does it. That's why he can do it. Of course, he's put in the work and all of that. But his nervous system is regulated enough to know that he can do it. And that's where people do these amazing feats because they know that they can. And when we come from what we know, we never have to defend it. We just become it. And so here's the truth. When you are reactive, you are not the author of your life. The trigger is, the pattern is, the unconscious belief is. But when you create space, you become the author. You get to choose what this moment means. You get to choose how you respond. You get to choose which shore you stand on. That is not a small thing. That is everything. We are seeking power and control in every which way externally. It's not your fault. It's the way the world has created it. Until we decide something different. You are one thought away from changing your entire life. Everything around us is designed to take us away from ourselves. We have to choose. We have to choose. Authenticity lives in this space. You cannot be authentic from a reactive state. Love is conditional in a reactive state. You are loving yourself unconditionally in a reactive state. Thus, you are loving everyone outside of you from a reactive state unconditionally. Apologize. It's all conditional. In reaction, we think that we're honoring ourselves, we're setting boundaries, and we're not because they are reactive, they are fear-based. In reaction, you are not responding to what is actually happening. You're responding to the past, to the pattern, to the fear. But authenticity requires presence and it requires space. Create the space in who you really are gets to show up. And so imagine that you are in this garden right now. And the garden is filled with rocks. But you know this can turn into something so beautiful beyond your wildest dreams. And so you sit in the middle, and every time you respond to something in your life without reaction, right? So you're in the middle of this rock garden and someone texts you and you catch it. This is a memory. It's not my reality. Send it love. And you take that rock, you put it outside the garden, put it outside. And then later that day, you go home and someone left something out in that one space that you just really don't like. And you think to yourself, it's okay. I'm going to breathe through it. I'm aware that that has caused me, stress or anxiety. And I'm going to breathe through it. It's everything is okay. It's fear. It's not me. And now you take 2 rocks and you remove those from the garden. And then something happens later that night. You take 3 rocks and you remove them from the garden. And now imagine what happens when you do that for a week. Space. And in that space is love and beauty and the ability to create the garden within you. And you do that one rock at a time, but the rock compounds because you start to practice this, that it becomes so much easier. With each rock you remove, you've created more space, making it that much more easier to continue to respond. And so try this on. Let's do this together right now, wherever you are. Take one slow breath in through your nose. All of the breathing we do here is in and out through our nose. And then exhale longer than the inhale, all the way out. So in, out. And now begin to hum quietly. Just a soft hum, anything. And feel that. That is your nervous system shifting in real time. Now place one hand on your chest and say either out loud or within, I have space, I have choice. I am not the storm. I am the one watching it. That is the shift. That is where everything begins. So beautiful. So beautiful when we have choice and authorship. When we can create the life from our most persistent state, which is calm and responsive. Two people, same storm, different experience, and nothing changed outside. Everything changed within. That is the work. Not changing your circumstances, not making fear-based decisions, not leaving your relationships. It's changing your state. Because when your state shifts, your choices shift. When your responses shift, your life shifts from the inside out. We've been trying to affect the effect from the outside in. It does not work. From the inside out. That is what we do here. And if this resonated, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe, like, follow along. This is the work. And if you're ready to go deeper, one-to-one sessions are open. Don't believe me. Try it on. This is Try It On, where awareness meets the nervous system and change begins from within. Take this into your life, not as something to believe, as something to try. Mwah.